It's time for today's travel and cruise industry news. With the latest from travel and cruises around the world, here's your host, Chillie Falls.
Hey, good morning and welcome to Monday's Travel and Cruise Industry News podcast on this Labor Day, September the 2nd, 2024. Coming to you from Forest, Virginia, and brought to you by MSC Cruises and Will US, the owner of Scooter. And yes, I've extended my sponsorship from MSC Cruises for an additional day to make up for the day that I missed out traveling a couple of weeks ago now, so we can end up with the right number of broadcasts. So we got MSC on board again today. We got a few stories this morning. The headlines today, the lead story is the Labor Day cruise weather. Also today, Newport from Rural Caribbean. Carnival adds pre-purchase distilled water. Eco-conscious retreat in the Bahamas. Norwegian's new app. And Chelsea, a football club, has renewed sponsorship with MSC, and lots more today here at 11 o'clock. Today, folks, is National Hummingbird Day. No, don't eat them. Feed them. We're getting up to that time of the year where they take off, those little fellers take off for thousands of miles migration flight. They need to build up some calories. So if you have hummingbird feeders, make some fresh juice for them. These last few days, they can store up before they take off. If you're listening via a podcast, you can always access the podcast via my blog, which is accessed at accessadventure.net, or where you get your podcasts from. Just search for Travel and Cruise Industry News, and up pops the Fat Travel Guy. All right, I'm going to take advantage, folks, a little bit of my position before I get to the news today to do a little editorializing. Many of you know the work that I do in the disabled community. Some of you may or may not know the extent of which I'm involved. I don't talk about anything that I do openly a lot. Everybody knows that I'm fairly accepted now from all the major cruise lines to guide through and inspect their ships and give them ideas and thoughts on what they need to do. I've also been able over the past couple of years to at least know and hopefully gain the respect of a lot of people in the disabled community. I don't care if it's Christy or Sylvia or John Morris or John Sage or Corey. Ron Pettit is the director of special needs for Royal Caribbean Cruise Line. And I hope to keep building on those relationships. To the point now, I'm serving on 2 boards internationally. One is doing some research on river cruising in Europe. And of course, the other is through Will Power Chairs in Scooter. But something happened this weekend, and I feel that I need to say something. And it's going to surprise some of you what I'm going to say. My friend John Hill had a situation at Carnival. And he gave his opinion on something and then got a lot of flack from his readers. Now, the situation was this: a lady and her mother were getting on a cruise, and the mother sprained her ankle in the parking lot. Now, anybody that's been in the community at all or has traveled, whether they're using chairs or scooters or rent scooters, know that the cruise lines all have wheelchairs to get you on and off the ship. So the people could have at least gotten on the ship by just going up and saying, okay, I need wheelchair service. Now, that doesn't help the lady once she's on board the ship. So apparently they went into the check-in area, to the desk, and said, okay, we need Carnival Cruise Line to provide us with a free wheelchair for my mother to use for the cruise. And they refused. They said, no, we don't do that. We can put you in touch with Scootaround, and they can rent you a scooter, a wheelchair, or a manual wheelchair. Or we will rent you one of our wheelchairs that we have for things that happen on cruises, but it'll cost you $50 a day. Well, apparently the people got all bent out of shape. It didn't say which cruise ship it was. It didn't say who they talked to at either the port or for Carnival. It didn't say exactly when it happened. But they complained to John, and John said, no, here's what the policy is. And he told them, he said, we don't give away, free wheelchairs on the cruise. Now, back 10 years ago, folks, no, it's longer than that now. It's almost 12 years ago. The first time I used a scooter on a cruise, I've told this story many times. A lady, I got just totally worn out with the walking, actually in Key West, and getting out from the ship to an excursion. And it was just a trolley around town and then walking back in and back on the ship. I was on the Norwegian Sun. You can tell you what ship it was. And I was just done in from the walking. That was when I had severe hip issues, totally mobility issues, problems. I didn't have the breathing issues back then. It was just walking. The next morning at breakfast, I saw a lady on a scooter, and I said, I got to ask you, where do you get those? She said, Scootaround. I said, who the hell is Scootaround? She said, well, it's a company that provides scooters on every cruise ship sailing from a U.S. port. So I got my pencil out, and I wrote down Scootaround, and I got their phone number. I said, well, I'll tell you what, my next cruise, I'm sure going to call them. She says, go down to the desk, ask them if they have one. They might have. She said, I know where one is parked. So I said, okay. So I went down to the desk and I talked to the people, and I says, I'm told that you might have an extra scooter on this ship. Would you be interested in renting it to me for the rest of the cruise? I didn't go ask for it for free. I asked to rent it. And they said, well, sure, we will. And they gave me a price, and I said, that's fine. To save me from walking? Yeah, I don't remember how much it was. $60 a day, $80 a day back then. I don't even recall. But I did it, and I was happy, and it made my cruise. I side with Carnival Cruise Line on this, and John Heald. Folks, you can't demand services that are not offered to you in your cruise contract. If you have to use medical facilities on a cruise ship, you think it's free? Hell no, it's not free. It's expensive. That's why we all carry insurance. These people, if they had an insurance policy, they could have gotten rented a wheelchair for the rest of the cruise and turned it in on their insurance. I checked on mine this morning to make sure that was covered, and it is. But too often, and I call them arrogant Americans that think they're due everything in the world and raise a stink when they don't get it. You need to get a little more realistic, folks. The cruise lines aren't here to provide everything in the world for you for free. That's a business. They're running a business that we all benefit from. And I'm sorry the lady sprained her ankle. But that doesn't give her the right to demand a free wheelchair. It wasn't Carnival's fault or John Neal's fault that the lady sprained her ankle. She probably did something stupid to cause it. Okay, that's it on my editorial comment for the day. I agree with Carnival. I agree with John. And if anybody want to fuss at me, fuss away. All right. I'll be back with today's news after a quick break from one of our network sponsors. Okay, guys. Before we get to the top story, I will say that with it being Labor Day, it was my intention to have a special guest, an unannounced special guest this morning to talk about an issue related to Labor Day, and that being the controversy over gratuities on cruise ships today. However, I found out when I got up today about 4:30 and started looking at information for today's show that my guest was up until well after midnight his time, and he said, there's no way I can get up and be ready to do your show at 7 a.m. in the morning his time. So hopefully it's going to work out. Probably later on today, I'll tape an interview with him for tomorrow because, I know what it's like to get up and try to do something at 7 o'clock in the morning. I did it for a week, and it was not fun. So, because I had to do all my research and stuff before that. But anyway, hopefully we'll have a special guest tomorrow. I at least hope so. And in the Labor Day forecast, we got 3 systems to watch as we move into the heart of the hurricane season. In the northwestern Gulf of Mexico, a broad area of low pressure just offshore of the upper Texas coast continues to produce some disorganized shower activity near the coast and over adjacent waters of the northwestern Gulf of Mexico. The system's expected to meander near the coast for the next couple of days, and some slow development is possible if it remains offshore. By Tuesday, the system is forecast to move inland. Further development is not expected. Regardless, heavy rains could cause some flash flooding across portions of the Texas coast during the next couple of days. Low chance of development in the next 48 hours at 10%. And 10% over the next 7 days. In the middle of the picture there, near the Lesser Antilles, disorganized shower and thunderstorm activity continues in association with a tropical wave located near the Lesser Antilles. The disturbance is expected to move westward and cross the eastern Caribbean Sea through Tuesday with little development. Environmental conditions are forecast to become more conducive for development while the system moves across the central and western Caribbean Sea during the middle and latter part of the week and it interacts with that warmer water. And a tropical depression could form during that time. The system could cause gusty winds and locally heavy rainfall over portions of the Lesser Antilles today. Formation over the next 48 hours is very low, near 0%, but jumps up to 40% over the next 7 days. Clearly a system we have to watch. And finally, just off the coast of Africa, a tropical wave along the west coast of Africa is producing a large area of shower and thunderstorms. Environmental conditions are forecast to gradually become more favorable for development, and a tropical depression can form in the next few days, while the disturbance moves slowly west-northwestward or northwestward over the eastern tropical Atlantic Ocean. Formation is low at 10% over the next 48 hours, but 40% over the next 7 days. Clearly another system we have to watch. That's it for the weather on Labor Day Monday. I realized that in my intro, I didn't bring you up to date on my health situation. You notice I got my oxygen back in. After I did the show Friday, I started going downhill. Friday night, Saturday, Sunday, up until Sunday evening, I was awful again. As bad as from the start. No voice. Can't sleep because as soon as I try to lay down, cough. So I'm getting no sleep, no rest. Last night, reasonably late for me, I started actually perking up a little. Now, I feel better this morning. My voice is back somewhat. I'm still coughing. Maybe not as much as I was, but I'm still coughing. I'm still terribly weak. So I'm certainly not back to normal yet. And still, I've had like no sleep for days. I'm catching little bat naps sitting up in the chair. So that's not very restful sleep. But anyway, I mean, at least it's a positive sign, even though it was a really bad weekend, that I'm feeling a little better today. Now, as soon as I did my opening today and started in on the weather story, I grabbed oxygen because I can just be sitting still doing nothing, and the O2 level just goes, I can feel it. And when I get down to in the 70s, I can feel it in my chest. So I know when it happens. But we're heading in the right direction. All right. Speaking of Royal Caribbean. Royal Caribbean International is adding Cabo Rojo, Dominican Republic, as a port of call to several existing cruise itineraries. The new port of call, which just opened to travelers in January of this year, is in Pedernales on the Dominican Republic's southwestern coast. The port is just northwest of Jarugua National Park, which includes the largest protected area of marine habitats in all of the Caribbean. Guests booked on several upcoming sailings have received notice that the new port is now part of their itineraries. These include sailings aboard Adventure of the Seas and Oasis of the Seas, and may also impact additional ships as the itineraries are reworked to include the new destination. From stunning beaches to snorkeling in turquoise waters to enjoying hikes, wildlife watching, and other nature-based activities, Cabo Rojo offers a more laid-back atmosphere than many more developed ports of call. First visited by Norwegian Cruise Line, Cabo Rojo will now be visited by ships from not only Royal Caribbean, but also Holland America, Costa, MSC, and Azamara. Just don't confuse it with Cabo Rojo, Puerto Rico, which is not that far away, but this is clearly a place all its own. Seattle was a beautiful coastal city
surrounded by parks and mountains, and there's no better time to visit than the summer months. Embark on a cruise or explore the Emerald City in comfort with a mobility rental. All Seattle scooter and wheelchair rentals are 10% off until September 30th, 2024, valid for both cruise rentals and hotel residential. Just call Scooter-Round toll free at 888-441-7575 or reserve online. Use code Seattle10 SRN 11137 at checkout. That's Scooter-Round in Seattle.
Cruisers traveling with medical conditions face many challenges, not the least of which is ensuring any equipment they must use will properly function at their destination. For CPAP users, this means a supply of distilled water to keep their machines producing the correct humidity for airway lubrication. After many requests, Carnival Cruise Line has now added distilled water to their pre-purchase options of food and beverages, ensuring that guests who require a CPAP machine will have easy access to the fluid to keep their machines running efficiently. The cost, $5.90 per gallon. Royal Caribbean International is not just building another beach club when it unveils its new private destination to eager guests in 2025. The cruise line is working to build an eco-conscious retreat in the heart of the Bahamas. To do so, Royal Caribbean has partnered with the Bahamian-owned environmental firm SEV Consulting Group to oversee the environmental aspects of its new development, Royal Beach Club Paradise Island. The comprehensive plan includes protecting marine turtle nesting sites and meticulously removing invasive species. Just to name a couple. SEV will make regular site visits and offer guidance and oversight to the construction teams. It's currently overseeing the demolition and mandated removal of more than 1,600 non-native plants and trees in order to restore the area's native ecosystem. As construction of the Royal Beach Club Paradise Island, which began in April of 2024, continues, Royal Caribbean is working to integrate local culture into the beach club's offerings. Plans include showcases Bahamian music, cuisine, and entertainment for an immersive experience for guests. Norwegian Cruise Line has rolled out a new mobile app which started on the 30th of August, promising to make cruise planning and management easier for guests. The app's launch marks the beginning of a fleet-wide transition that will run through December of this year. Now available for download on both Apple App Store and Google Play Store, passengers about to embark on Norwegian Sky's 5-night voyage into the Caribbean will be the first to sample its offerings. Guests on Norwegian Encore's round trip, which sailed yesterday from Seattle, also are now online. The new app will next be adopted on Norwegian Viva's September 10th cruise, Norwegian Breakaway, and Norwegian Jewel on September 15th. The final September rollout will be found on Norwegian Dawn on the 27th. In October, the deployment will continue October 3rd for guests on the Norwegian Jade, October 5th for those on Norwegian Bliss, October 6th for travelers on Norwegian Epic, and October 18th for passengers on Norwegian Prima. Pride of America and Norwegian Joy roll out on October 26th. Norwegian Escape on November 8th, Norwegian Spirit on the 15th, Norwegian Sun on the 20th of November, and conclude on Norwegian Pearl on November 21st. Norwegian Star and Norwegian Gem will be the last two ships to operate the Norwegian Cruise Line app. Those last updates will take place on December 8th and December 11th, respectively. Sorry, Hot Air Time, you won't have the Gem when you're on it here this week and next. Chillie Football Club has renewed its sponsorship agreement with MSC Cruises. The partnership began in 2019 and has been marked by a series of successful commercial, marketing, and community initiatives, strengthening the bond between the two brands. This extended multi-year collaboration aims to elevate MSC Cruises' global presence among Chillie supporters and football fans worldwide. Throughout their partnership, Chillie and MSC have achieved significant milestones, including impactful customer acquisition strategies, engaging branded content, and pioneering sustainability efforts. One notable project to the MSC is the MSC Meadow Initiative, which involved planting 100 trees at Chillie's Cobham training ground to promote biodiversity and encourage positive community engagement. Congratulations to both Chillie Football Club and MSC Cruises. All right, here's Chillie Cruises solo deal of the day. An 8-day Bahamas cruise on the MSC Seashore starting at $530 per person, and a great deal on drinks as well. The ship sails from Port Canaveral on November the 10th, has an overnight stop in Ocean Key, MSC Marine Reserve in the Bahamas, a day at sea, Costa Maya on the 14th of November, Cozumel on the 15th of November, another day at sea, and back to Port Canaveral. Sail on the MSC Seashore from Orlando, departing November the 10th, 8 days and 7 nights. The current rates: interior, solo, $530 per person. Ocean view, solo, $830 per person. Balcony, solo, $11.50 per person. The drinks package adds $2.50 onto that. Great deal on the MSC Seashore. Unfortunately, folks, I cannot be on this cruise as I'll be on the cruise ship Dr. Cruise at the end of this cruise. But if we get enough people interested in this, I'll get somebody to go on it and host it. Anyway, take a look at it. A great solo deal. All right, that's a new feature, and it just happens to tie in that it's with MSC. And again, I thank MSC for their sponsorship this month. I hope I've done you some good. I hope we get some people on the solo deal now. My solo deal of the day, I'm going to try to find a good solo deal every day and, advertise it for the solo community. That doesn't mean if you're, a couple, you can still go on them. I mean, you can always call me to get the rates. But anyway, I'm going to try to pick up our solo business a little bit. All right, that's going to wrap up the news portion of today's show. Let's go over in the chat room and see how long my voice lasts, number one, and who's with us fussing at me today. Hi there, Tom's here, Mike's here, Kenneth's here, up in Pennsylvania. Robin's giving him a workout. Uh-oh. He's got to load 400 bales of hay for the horses before he leaves to go meet with Hot Air Tom and get on the gym. Wow. Kenneth, I'm sorry. I'm glad it's you and not me. And Hot Air says, and she told me she was doing that work. Do you do this by hand or with some machine help? And Hot Air saying good morning to everybody. Roger's with us down in Jacksonville. Kenneth, I saw you finish the loose ends on the September 13th cruise. Now to see if I need to call again to get them released. Not a big deal since we'll already be on the ship. Gretchen's with us up in Ohio. M's with us up in New York. Kenneth says, we have a machine. Robin stacks them on the machine, and I go up in the loft and stack them. Thank goodness for the machine because it's like 30 feet up. Oh, yeah. That makes a big difference. That's still heavy, nasty, hot work. I know. I've done it before. Roger says leaves for Atlanta 1 week from today. We'll be on the Viking Hemedal on September 11th. That's cool. All right, Roger. We're going to need some pictures. Emily says, I wish I had hummingbirds. Would they come if I get one, a feeder? You get their hummingbirds go as far north as New York. You'd be a little later in the season starting than I get them, and they'd leave a little earlier in the season. So I'd wait till spring, if you want to get a feeder, I'll show you how to make juice for it. Don't buy the commercial red dye juice. That's not good for the hummingbirds. It's just sugar and water. And you boil it and cool it down and put it in the feeder and hang it out. And they come for it as soon as they're around. So, and there's an actual hummingbird map that tracks where hummingbirds have been spotted every spring. Like the first hummingbirds we got here in Virginia, like the 14th of April this year, which was way early. But yeah, they go up to New York too. So, probably be into May before you'd see them. But that's okay. I love the little hummingbirds. They're just fascinating. We have a trumpet vine, which they like that, which is natural. And they come, suck out of flowers on the trumpet vine all the time. They'll also nest in the trumpet vines. So we constantly have hummingbird nests in there too. And see the babies, sometimes they're so small you don't see them until they get up growing a little bit and start moving around. But yeah, it's pretty fascinating. Kenneth says we got about another 150 bales and we're done. Wow, excellent. I'll leave for Boston at 6 a.m. on Amtrak Tuesday morning. Yeah, hot air. I'm sorry I won't be there to meet you on getting on the train. Em says don't overdo it. Congratulate me on my boards that I'm serving on. There's Flora Brown. Flora Brown. Hello, Flora. Bob's with us. Happy Labor Day, Chillie. Thank you, Bob. You said it, Chillie. Cruise ships are a business. I agree with you. Thanks, Em. There's Steve. Good morning, Chillie. And everybody. Hi, Steve. Kentucky. Em says, P.S. I'm glad you ranted. Yeah, Em, you're one of the few people that likes my rants. A lot of people think, who the hell is he? I can do a good rant on cruise line service charges. They are not gratuities and are not paid in addition to the normal contract wages, salaries. It's a budgetary tool for cruise line to collect funds for payroll of staff. This allows the base to be adjusted based on supply demand without affecting staffing revenue. Yeah, that one of the problems, hot air, that we're finding, and this is coming directly from crew, is a lot of the issues where they should be getting some gratuities, they're not getting them. For instance, here's a prime example. I just got off of Princess last week. And I had the Princess Plus package, which included the gratuities. What the crew members are saying is that portion of gratuities they never see. So, I mean, I still give yeah, I have certain people that I give cash to, as well as like the daily gratuities, $20 a day or whatever it is now. But sometimes I wonder, are they getting all that? I mean, how's that work? Is there any real clear showing of what really happens with that money? So we got somebody that's been in the middle of that, and we're going to talk about it a little further tomorrow. Sorry, folks, the MSC special of the day conflicts with the cruise ship Dr. Cruise. MSC needs to shorten that to get us cruise ship Dr. Cruise. Yeah, no, I'm just, this one cruise I can't go on. There's going to be others that I'll be going on too. But that's a good deal. And I'm not saying that all the cruises that I promote are going to be cruise with Chillies. I mean, some of them have been, but I mean, I can still book people on cruises that I'm not on. So when I can go on them, that's great. I'll do it. Hot Air could host that cruise. Yeah, well, he's going to be on cruise ship Dr. Cruise too. So, but I do have other friends that host cruises. And if we get a group, we get 4, 5, 6 people started, I'll happily get somebody to go and host them. Not a problem. I downloaded the new app, and it's working okay on land for the gym cruise. I guess the change to the ship use is what is not at work yet. The graphics now look nice, that the information is displayed. I guess, yeah, they'd have to have it on land working to have it working on ship. So I hadn't thought about downloading it on air. That's not a bad idea. Gary Older Than Dirt's here. Morning. Oh, one more day in California before he flies home. Well, Gary, Florida has missed you. I get messages about that all the time. Where is Gary Older Than Dirt? Emily says, Roger, get pictures. Have a great cruise. Got all the hay put up for winter. Yeah, that's good. Has to be done. Okay, springtime. Very cool. I wonder when they arrive. I've never seen them in person. Thank you, Chillie. Oh, yeah, they're fascinating. And then once they get used to you having feeders up, and I used to, when I was doing it, I'd have 5 or 6 feeders up all around. And you'd walk out in the backyard and they'd be dive bombing you like crazy. Yeah, it was great fun. I've had them land on my finger before. Yeah. They're interesting little critters. Emily says, I forgot it was Labor Day. I had to bring up my garbage cans. Yeah, they're not running today, Em. That princess gratuity is not right for staff. The extra gratuities for specialty restaurants and drink packages really should be paid as extra. Someone needs to fix that. I agree with that. It's a good point, Hot Air. All right, guys. As you can tell, the voice is going slowly but surely. At least I've only had one slight little off through all this today. So, all right, guys. That's going to wrap it up for today. Hopefully, I'll have a guest tomorrow. Don't know for sure, but hopefully. So, until then, everybody have an absolutely fabulous day. And as always, stay safe, stay healthy. Think about cruising. And hopefully one day soon we'll all get together on the high seas. Just like Hot Air Tom and Kenneth and Suzanne are going to do starting, when do you start that? On the 6th. Yes. On the Norwegian Gym. You guys have a great day. I'll see everybody back here same time, same channel tomorrow.
I regularly post videos on all facets of the travel and cruise industry. So if you like to keep up with the latest in cruise ships, ports of call, cruises themselves, Chillie chats, and travel and cruise industry news, just hit the little subscribe button in the lower right-hand corner, hit the bell notification so you'll be notified when a new video is up or we go live. This video was produced by Chillie's Cruises.